Some guys will have a situation set up. They make money where their families will never have to suffer. I mean, I grew up in a ghetto, didn't have anything at all. Played ball all the time, went to school, church, that was it.
Where did your passion for the game come from?
In 1951, I believe, my older brother Bailey hit a shot against Anderson High School and got them into the first championship for an all-black team from Indianapolis, Indiana. And from that point on, man, I was just...
Oscar Robertson did not hold back when LeBron James and legacy talk came up. He made his point in the most direct way possible. He said players need to stop putting themselves above men they never even played against. That was not a small comment. That was not a light joke. That was one of the strongest things any basketball legend has said in a long time. And because it came from Oscar Robertson, people listened in a different way. This is not just any former player giving an opinion from far away. This is one of the greatest players the game has ever seen. This is a man who changed basketball with his play, his voice, and his fight for players long before today's stars had the power they now enjoy. What made this moment feel so serious was the tone behind it. Oscar did not sound jealous. He did not sound bitter. He sounded tired. Tired of hearing the same kind of talk again and again. Tired of watching the past get pushed aside every time a new debate starts. Tired of hearing modern stars speak like the game began when they entered it. And when LeBron's name came into that space, Oscar made it clear that respect still matters to him more than hype, more than online praise, and more than all the big sports shows that love to turn every debate into noise. To understand why this hits so hard, you have to understand who Oscar Robertson is. He did not build his name in a time of easy attention. He built it in a hard era. He played in the 1960s, and he was doing things on the court that sounded unreal. He averaged a triple-double for a full season. Not for a month, not for a stretch, for the whole season. That record stood for years and years, and it became one of the most respected marks in basketball history. Long before the modern game became faster and more open, Oscar was already doing it all. He scored, passed, rebounded, and controlled the game in a way that few players ever have. But his story is bigger than numbers. Oscar came from struggle. He grew up with very little. Basketball was not some part-time dream for him. It was a way forward. It was love, escape, and purpose all at once. He played through a time when black athletes had to carry pressure on and off the court. He dealt with unfair treatment, even as NBA stars got it. But for Oscar, talent does not give anyone the right to speak over history. And this is where the whole thing turns from a simple sports debate into something much bigger. Because what Oscar really seems upset about is not one comment or one post. It is the way legacy is handled now. In his time, your legacy was made by what you did on the floor. You played, people watched, people remembered. That was it. There was no social media team shaping every message. There were no endless clips cut to fit a perfect image. There was no full-time machine working behind the scenes to help build your place in history while you were still playing. Oscar looks at today's world and sees something very different. With LeBron, that difference stands out even more. LeBron is not just a basketball player. He is a full global brand. Every move gets watched. Every quote gets picked apart. Every game adds to a story that is being built in real time. Some people see that as smart. Some see it as normal for today's era. But Oscar seems to see it as part of the problem. He seems to believe that when players are too active in building their own legend while they are still playing, the line between real legacy and planned image starts to blur. And once that happens, the older generations start feeling like their place in the story is being slowly pushed away. That feeling is important. It is easy for younger fans to hear Oscar's words and think this is just an older legend being upset with change. But that misses the heart of it. Oscar is from a generation that fought for things modern players now enjoy without even thinking about them. He was a major force in the fight for player rights. He helped break the old system that kept players tied down. His work helped open the door for free agency. In simple terms, Oscar helped create the kind of league where stars like LeBron could choose their path, control their careers, and build power around themselves. So when he feels modern stars are not giving enough respect to the past, that feeling does not come from nowhere. That is why his comment about comparing yourself to players you never faced cuts so deep. On the surface, it sounds like a sports opinion, but under that, it's really about honor. Oscar is saying there are some lines you should not cross too easily. You can admire yourself, you can believe in your greatness, you can know you belong with the best. But saying you're above men from other times, men who played under totally different rules and different life conditions, is something he sees as wrong. In his eyes, you did not share the floor with them, so you cannot speak like you settled that question.
Racial tension back then, although it was the norm, it had to affect you. Day to day, how did that make you feel? How were you able to focus on the task at hand? How did you get through all the stuff you had to unfortunately go through?
When I went to the University of Cincinnati, I was the first black to play there, and I didn't realize it. Because I'd gone to Cincinnati to see Jackie Robinson play a lot, and I saw a lot of African-American people sitting in the stands, whatnot. I said, man, this is a great town, great city. So anyway, when I go to school there.
And honestly, there is power in that view. Nobody truly knows how players from different eras would match up. Nobody can prove how LeBron would do in Oscar's time, with rougher defense, fewer protections, and a very different style of play. At the same time, nobody can fully say how Oscar would look in today's game, with more space, modern training, and a faster pace. That is what makes cross-era debates fun, but also limited. They are opinions, not facts. Oscar's point seems to be that too many people now speak about these debates like they have final answers, and to him, that is where disrespect begins. Still, to be fair, LeBron's side of this story matters too. LeBron did not become LeBron by staying small. Great players often believe they are the best. That belief drives them. Michael Jordan had it. Kobe Bryant had it. Many legends had that same fire. So confidence alone is not the issue. The difference with LeBron is that his greatness exists in a world where everything is louder, everything is public, every win becomes part of a legacy debate, every record gets posted in seconds, every opinion grows fast. So when LeBron speaks with confidence about where he belongs, some people see that as normal for the time he lives in, and that is why this debate does not have an easy winner. Oscar may be right in asking for more humility. LeBron supporters may also be right in saying the game has changed, the media world has changed, and players now have to protect their place in history while they are still active. Both ideas can be true at the same time. That is what makes this so heated. It is not only a battle between two names, it is a battle between two eras, two ways of thinking, and two different ideas of what greatness should look like. For older players and older fans, Oscar's words felt like a release. A lot of them have likely felt for years that the game's history gets cut short in modern talk. It often feels like the story begins with Magic, Bird, Jordan, Kobe, and then LeBron. Players from before that are often mentioned, but not always deeply respected. Their numbers get talked down, their era gets called weak, their accomplishments get made to seem less important just because the game looked different. Oscar sees that, and he clearly does not like it. He sees men from his generation being treated like old names in a book instead of giants who helped build the sport. And that feeling of being erased is human. Think about what those players gave to the game. They did not only entertain fans, many of them carried social pressure, racial pressure, and financial limits that today's players do not face in the same way. They helped make the league bigger, stronger, and more fair. They built value that later generations would profit from. So when the new era speaks too freely about being greater than all who came before, it can feel like the builders are being forgotten inside the house they helped create. That may be the most powerful part of Oscar's message. He is not saying modern stars are not great. He is saying greatness should include memory. It should include respect. It should include a clear understanding that the road did not begin with you. In his mind, the least a modern legend can do is speak carefully when talking about those who laid the ground before him. That does not make LeBron smaller. If anything, it would make him even greater in the eyes of people like Oscar. Because being truly great is not only about dominating games, it is also about carrying the game's history with the right kind of care. There is also something else in Oscar's tone that matters. At his age, he has nothing to gain by chasing attention. His place in basketball history is already secure. He is not building a brand. He He is not trying to sell a new image. He is speaking because he believes what he is saying. That gives his words a different weight. He is not trying to win a trend for one day. He is putting his values on the table. He is saying that if nobody else from his era wants to say this openly, then he will. And when he said it, the reaction came fast. Some fans praised him right away. They said finally somebody had the courage to speak the truth. Others attacked him and said he was stuck in the past. Some defended LeBron and said modern athletes live under pressure older stars never had to face. Some said Oscar was right, but too harsh. And that split tells you just how deep this issue runs. It touches people's idea of fairness, respect, memory, and identity.
It is not just about who was the better player. It is about what kind of standard we use when we speak about greatness at all. That is also why the LeBron part of this story is so tricky. LeBron has done almost everything a player can do. He has won titles, broken records, stayed great for an unbelievably long time, and remained at the center of the sport for years. If anyone has earned the right to be in the greatest ever talk, it is him. That part is real. But Oscar's point is that being in the talk is not the same as speaking over players from eras you never touched. To Oscar, there's a difference between saying, "I belong with the best," and saying, "I am above man I never tested myself against." That line may sound small, but to older players it means a lot. They come from a basketball culture where respect was often shown differently. You let others speak on your place. You let time do some of the talking. You did not always move yourself to the front of the line in public. Today, that style feels old to many fans, but for Oscar, it still matters. It represents balance, it represents class, and maybe most of all, it represents an understanding that no player owns the whole story of basketball. When people talk about the greatest of all time, they often want one clean answer. They want one name, one winner, one final word. But maybe that is exactly what Oscar is pushing back against. Maybe he is saying the game is too big for one simple answer. Too many eras, too many conditions, too many different kinds of greatness. Bill Russell changed winning. Wilt changed power. Oscar changed all-around play. Kareem changed scoring and longevity. Jordan changed dominance. LeBron changed the modern idea of total control and long-term excellence. Each one brought something rare. Each one carried the game forward in a different way. If that is true, then maybe the real problem is not LeBron alone. Maybe the problem is the way modern debate keeps trying to flatten history into one narrow race. That kind of talk creates winners and losers, but it also creates forgetting. It pushes people to choose instead of understand. Oscar seems to be saying that when we do that, we lose something important. We lose context. We lose memory. We lose the respect that keeps the game connected across time. And that is why this moment felt heated. It was not loud in the usual sports way. It was heated because it touched something real. It touched old pain, old pride, and old work that many feel is not being honored enough. Oscar Robertson was not only speaking to LeBron, he was speaking to the whole basketball world. He was speaking to fans, media people, younger players, and anyone who talks about legacy like the past is just a small note before the present. He was saying, slow down. He was saying, remember who came before. He was saying history should not be treated like an obstacle to your own greatness. In the end, this is what makes Oscar's words so hard to ignore. They were simple, but they carried years behind them. Years of watching, years of hearing the talk, years of seeing how fast the game moves on from the men who built it. He finally said what many others may have been thinking, and because he said it with no fear, the whole thing hit even harder. Whether people agree with him or not, they cannot pretend the message was empty. It had weight, it had purpose, and it forced a serious question back into the center of the GOAT debate. So now the issue is bigger than LeBron's records or Oscar's old numbers. The issue is what greatness should sound like when it speaks. Should it be bold and public and fully sure of itself? Or should it leave more room for those who came before? That is the real tension here. And maybe that is why this story keeps growing, because there is no easy end to it. LeBron's greatness is real. Oscar's demand for respect is also real. And somewhere between those two truths is the reason this debate feels so alive. Oscar Robertson went off because he believes the past still matters. He believes respect still matters. He believes that no matter how big today's stars become, they still owe something to the names that built the game before them. And whether that message was aimed mostly at LeBron or at the whole modern era, one thing is clear. He did not say it by accident. He said it because he meant every word. And now that he has said it, the basketball world cannot just move on like nothing happened.